Times Influence Initiative.
As India marches ahead towards a $1 trillion digital economy by 2022, the 5th edition of the Digital India Summit was the platform where industry leaders and market experts came together to lay down the agenda for India's digital future. The CEO of Brand Capital, Sumbramaniam, addressed the audience on how investments in the digital space are spurring growth across the nation.
Today, I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about SMEs, small and medium businesses, and how the digital era, digital technologies and digitization is playing a very, very crucial role helping them. There is this question, people ask, is digitization causing a divide, or is it providing a dividend for small and medium businesses? Have a look on this pretty page here, left-hand side and right-hand side. I've taken a few horizontals against which I'm evaluating how digitization has changed, how much has gone in, what is the status change today. On top you see tele-density, connectivity has doubled. This is only in the last 10 years, it's not in a very long period of time. Mobile penetration is increased by about a third. But the important thing there, ladies and gentlemen, from 2G, 3G, we have gone to 4G and will soon reach 5G. That is going from text messages to live streaming. Today, we watch Netflix easily. You can watch Netflix on your phone. 10 years ago, it was simply text messages and BlackBerry Messenger. Huge, huge difference. Internet connectivity has increased from little 5% to 40%. These are huge, huge growth numbers in the last decade. $37 billion will be the technology, digital-based healthcare market in India in a couple of years. This is huge. And in lending, it's going to approach $200 billion. These are very large numbers. This is nothing to sit there and say, has it happened? Is it coming? It is here. It is with us. Some 30% of our GDP are small and medium businesses already. This is a meaningful number. 40% of our country's jobs come from small businesses, and roughly half of all the production, industrial production, is also from small businesses. But only about a third of them today are on using digital technologies, digital platforms, etc., and that number is going to dramatically change. Some challenges faced by small businesses. Yes, there are challenges. Nothing is a straight line. There are market challenges, talent challenges, infrastructure challenges, regulatory challenges, multiple challenges, technology challenges as well. But the important thing is digitization has produced several players in the industry. You can see all of them in the bottom, and you know all these names. Many of these are household names. They provide a lot of support for addressing a lot of these challenges. This is huge, okay? This is not a government doing it. This is not a one specific company doing it. This is an ecosystem doing it. This is gigantic. And that is what I'm trying to show here. These new businesses and platforms themselves, as they grow, this is a positive externality situation. Every new business that enters the digital ecosystem amplifies the opportunity for every other business in the ecosystem, and that's a multiplying effect. Digitization today that we are seeing, and we'll see more and more, is singly. Only that one thing is going to be one of the biggest blessings ever for us to make an inclusive democracy in this country for the future. I'm really psyched about it. Thank you.
As the evening continued, distinguished market experts and business leaders took the stage to measure the impact of digitization on small and medium-sized enterprises. They were Vice President Indian Subcontinent Etihad Airways, Neerja Bhatia, co-founder Kaleidofin, Puneet Gupta, and CEO Brand Capital, Sumbramaniam.
We're going to start this panel on a very optimistic note, and those are some of the big headline figures that we've seen in your presentation, Sam. Data has emerged as the most precious commodity of the 21st century, and democratic access to high-speed, low-cost data really is changing the way things are done. We're talking about the next $1 trillion economy. The numbers are looking fantastic. What's going to convert that to effectiveness on the ground?
I hear this question all the time. What's going to happen? What is going to bring these groceries online? What is going to bring these things online? Who is going to supply? You know what? All of you will do it. It will happen. We are doing it all day. We are doing it all along. It is not that we have to dramatically change the way we do everything today. We will do the same thing. We will produce the same thing. When a restaurant goes on Swiggy, they're not changing their kitchen. They're doing the same thing. They're preparing nice food, but except they are getting that person over there in South Delhi as a customer who was never eating the food from that restaurant.
Nirja, you have addressed a market and you've really opened up markets that didn't have access to travel previously. And you've done that thanks to the power really of technology and digital. Do you think that more and more of these case studies and stories are going to come up as we're seeing more access to low-cost data?
I think the key focus, I think for anybody, is people. And every step of our life, those 15 years, we have embraced technology. We have looked at innovative ways of doing business. It's, again, what an airline basically does is carry a passenger from point A to point B. That every airline could do. Everybody has an economy seat, a business seat, or a first-class seat. What differentiates you from the others is your innovative thinking, creative ideas, and of course, technology. For SMEs such as you, we have a fantastic product called Business Connect, wherein it is linked to the Etihad Guest program, and you can get a lot of advantage through miles and through obviously concessions when you're traveling abroad to do your business.
Puneet, my question to you is, do you think that perhaps the solutions would have come regardless whether we had technology which is moving at the pace it has or not because the market is demanding it?
The ability to be able to create unique solutions for customers today looks extremely easy with technology. The ability to reach out to customers who otherwise were extremely hard to reach look extremely easy with technology. The challenge of doing this without technology was that beyond a certain level, it was just impossible to serve this customer segment. Or if you were to serve them, the cost would be extremely high. I think for us, the leap that has happened through technology is that today every single individual in this country looks like an individual who we could serve, and we could serve profitably.
The jury is also out on whether technology is best suited and the benefits really of businesses that are in the tech space are most seen in the B2B space, not so much the B2C space.
There's huge benefits in the B2B space. There's absolutely no doubt about it. If you really look at the progression, it started in the B2B space, where businesses want to make their processes faster, cheaper, quicker, safer, and they did it. That continues to happen. It'll still happen. But on the B2C space is where you will see the biggest benefit for the country and the biggest growth metrics washing up in terms of GDP growth, per capita income growth, and so forth.
As I'm winding down this panel, I definitely have to talk about data and protection of data, given the amount of data that's been thrown up thanks to the innovation that we're seeing. For SMEs here in the audience today, who are perhaps working very closely on the cloud, are working with multiple platforms, one or two things that they should be aware of when it comes to their data protection. And also perhaps how data in their hands is also their biggest weapon.
In terms of when we look at creating a financial plan for the customer, which ultimately leads to a situation where a customer can borrow, customer can access capital, the customer can access debt funds, I would say that having access to their own data is extremely important. I think India has made rapid strides in creating a policy where account aggregators will start to give control back to India. I think the regulation looks very forward-looking in terms of the power that it creates in individuals. It actually creates your transaction history as an asset that you can leverage. So I think that is extremely important. To all SMEs out there, I would say that each one of us is also generating a lot of data. For example, I have a lot of data about my customers, and the onus is on each one of us to make sure that we're protecting data. We are holding client privacy as extremely important. And this is something which otherwise starts to create a lot of mistrust If we need to make sure that regulation is not starting to regulate this extremely heavily, the onus is on all of us to make sure that we treat data in a manner that we would treat our own personal data as.
Sure. All right, so a couple of things really that SMEs and entrepreneurs should definitely be watching for, but that's all the time we have today, unfortunately, but thank you, Nirja, Puneet, Sam, for your time here on this panel. Thank you.
Stay tuned for an enlightening fireside chat with MakeMyTrip's Deep Kalra and an update on the CSR activities of Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India from Director of General and Corporate Affairs, Harbhajan Singh. MakeMyTrip was one of the first Indian companies to adopt an online-first model, and its founder Deep Kalra sat down with Times Network's Mihir Bhatt to discuss the digitization wave and to deliberate on how far we still have to go.
Thank you so much, Deep, for joining us. But before we discuss the $1 trillion digital agenda, I have a very simple and a basic question. You entered into the digital world, or I would say you started your digital journey when the word digital itself was not really known in India. The startup word it did not exist in our dictionary, and accessing internet was still a sort of an effort for people. It was not as easy as it is today. So if you can just take us back into the past and share your thought process of when, why, and how you thought of starting something in digital space in India.
Clearly in year 2000, I don't think any of this was even conceived. Forget being a reality, I don't think we thought about digital payments the way we do today. Interestingly, MakeMyTrip started in 2000, but the first transaction online in India, and actually the first ticket bought online on India was in 2005. And we had to wait 5 very, I would say, arduous and impatient years to get to the time when Indians are ready to buy online. I'm happy to share that today, over 60% of all air tickets in the country are bought online. Over 65% of all private sector bus tickets, interstate bus tickets, are bought online. Our company, Red Bus, is the leader there. About 15% of all hotel bookings are done online, so long way to go for hotel. And I believe IRCTC numbers, more than half, I think almost 60% of all rail tickets are bought online. You know, we've come a long, long way, and I can't help but actually appreciate the measures that have been taken. Doesn't mean many more don't have to be taken, and we'll come to that. But I think the game changer has been around the digital inclusion and making, I think, digitization truly democratic.
You know, while we speak about India being the second largest startup ecosystem globally, I think what pains me, and in fact most of us, is that when will we see a homegrown domestic Indian company making to the league of something like, let's say, an Apple or a Google or a Facebook? You know, when will we have our, I would say, outlier shot?
It's hard to predict, but I certainly hope that we see it in this next decade to come. I think we can. I don't think there's any dearth of entrepreneurial talent in India. There's none whatsoever. People used to say Indians don't think big enough. I think that's changed. So I think we've got the ingredients. I think if we put in place some of the measures on the ecosystem and on the regulatory side, we can really take off.
So, you know, I mean, you have observed a lot of markets very closely apart from India. And since we have that late mover advantage, if we were to look at it that way, what are your key learnings from other developed markets or developed economies, which probably somewhere we need to adapt and implement in India to probably fast track this so-called digital ecosystem and economy?
No, thank you for asking that. I do believe time is of essence. I do believe we are at a crossroad. I really do believe there's a balance in between helping local entrepreneurs, homegrown entrepreneurs, build a vibrant ecosystem and yet take on the world. I'm not saying don't let foreign companies, please let them come in, but let them pay their fair share of taxes. Let them, be at best level playing field, no problem. Please don't make it an uneven level playing field or non-level playing field where Indian companies and Indian entrepreneurs actually have to keep fighting. The ease of doing business stat, it's great to see us climb up. But I can tell you from a young entrepreneur, and I meet a lot of young entrepreneurs, I'm heavily invested in that ecosystem, personally, directly, and also through angel funds, in probably now almost 100 companies. And I can tell you that there is a lot of pain in the startup phase.
But are you saying that the course correction that we need to do on the regulatory side, on the ecosystem side, if we don't do that, then is there a serious threat to the digital economy or the growth, a potential growth story that we are discussing here? Is that what you are saying?
Yeah, there's a threat, very simply. Like I said, our base case is we'll still hit $1 trillion. It's up to us if we want to punch above our weight category or if we want to punch below our weight category. It's totally up to us, and we're going to set that agenda for that together. And therefore, I believe we should aspire for much larger. Again, I don't want to get carried away by big only numbers. I think what would be a far more exciting statistic is, can we have 100,000 startups? I think that's interesting.
I think that was very enlightening. Deep, thank you so much for joining us. And we will stay connected with you till we hit that $3 trillion mark. Thank you so much.
Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India has enjoyed a prolific presence in India for nearly 2 decades. And Director of General and Corporate Affairs Harbhajan Singh took the stage to discuss the many ways in which the company has been giving back to India through its CSR activities.
I represent here Honda Two-Wheelers, which started its operation in India in 2001 with 2,000 people, and now we are employing around 26,000 people who are working in our organization. I find that maybe when we were young, the language of the society used to be English. Anybody who was capable of speaking English was held in very high esteem in the society and used to rise very fast. But now when I look around, I find that it is not English anymore. It is the digital knowledge which is the language of the current time and current generations. We started with small things, but we made a difference. I would just highlight the latest project that we are now focusing on. We are picking 20 girls and training them as commercial pilots and creating 20 commercial pilots for the aviation industry. Whatever activity we had embarked upon, we thought that there should be an impact, there should be a real result to it. We are a company which provides mobility solutions, and we think that any company which is associated with transportation has the responsibility of taking care of the human lives on the roads. So what we did, we thought that let us create a police connect on highways. So every 10 kilometers, we had put police assistance booths, provided them with interceptors, with two-wheeler mobiles, and CCTV control rooms within that assistant booths. So if any accident happening on highway, there can be approachability and immediate presence of police in those areas during the golden hours. And as per the latest data which we got, we found that we have been able to save something like 211 lives, which was because of those police presence in those roads. So friends, what I want to say is, we have to be honest in whatever we do, whether it is CSR activity or even personal lives. So unless we start believing and practicing it at individual level, things do not change. Digitization has become a way it is a medium. It is a medium to monitor, it is a medium to control the things. It is just a language. I think that the biggest virtue is to be strong and biggest sin is to be weak. Any field that you may be in, means even in the field of digitization, means one who is big has more muscles and can survive, but one who is small may have a lot of problems. Thank you.
A Times Influence Initiative.